Am I the a-hole for being upset with my parents for paying for my brother's wedding? I 36F have been dating my boyfriend 40 for about a year and a half. A few months ago, my mother asked me on a phone call if we were serious and planning to get engaged. I responded yes, as this is something he and I have discussed and both want. She immediately responded, "That's great," followed with, "Don't expect your father and I to pay for anything for the wedding, because she said we're too old. This will be important later." This was completely unprompted, as I had never asked. To this, I responded that he and I don't really want a wedding and we're not sure what we'll do after engagement and when it comes time to plan. Her response was that I better not elope again, and she expects a nice wedding of some kind regardless of the size. For context, I eloped with my first husband and she was embarrassed and devastated. Her words. We ended the phone call by saying she can't have expectations if she's not willing to contribute, and that I wasn't even engaged yet and we'll talk about it later. My boyfriend and I don't make a ton of money and probably cannot afford even a small ceremony and wedding dinner for even 10 people if we're being honest. We're fine, but we don't have $4,000 laying around, and let's be honest, even with a tiny wedding, you're looking at that amount. Anyways, fast forward a few months and my twin same age brother gets engaged. We're all very excited for him. Last night, my mother and I were discussing his plans as I was trying to get the scoop, and my brother's kinda tight-lipped about things. She lets it slip on our phone call that they're planning a large wedding and my parents are footing half the bill, splitting it with the bride's parents. I reminded her of our conversation and she immediately called me a jealous brat and ended the phone call. For clarity, my issue is that my mother is insisting on a nice wedding of some kind, insisting with no financial backing. The salt in the wound was to find out she's paying for half my brother's and won't admit this is not about age, as she'd previously said, with no explanation, just further demands that if I do get married, there will be a wedding paid out of my pocket. So, am I the a-hole?
Here are the top comments, plus Opie's reply.
Wow, not the a-hole. Your mother is deflecting, knowing she overtly favors your brother and people might find out. Has she always favored your brother? And what's your father's stance in this? It certainly doesn't give off equal vibes. Hope the will doesn't also reflect this.
OP replied, "My dad is very, yes dear, and goes with whatever she says, so his opinion is non-existent or unwilling to be shared if he even has one."
Info. In your first wedding, did your parent offer to pay? Was anything planned before you eloped? Is there anything left out here that might be the reason your mom was upset?
OP replied, "No, we genuinely just eloped. Yes, my mom was upset because we eloped without telling anyone. It's actually water under the bridge. I mentioned it only to show that she was very upset by it and wants a to-do of a wedding of some kind.